Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya wal Mursaleen. This is Mujeeb Kazi, and you're watching Dallas Roundup on the TV, Voice of Kashmir. Today's segment is legal matters. A lot of people live in this country. This is a country of law, country of constitution, democracy of constitution, but most people make common sense decisions. So we thought this would be an appropriate platform and bring an expert on the show who can talk about legal matters when it comes to immigration. And even immigration has several, scope of the law, such as naturalization, citizenship, and all that. So let's understand what this whole body of law is, how does it work, and how we can imply in our daily life. So I am very honored to have an expert on the legal matter. He is Brother Adam Malik. He is a former Homeland Security officer, practices his own law. He's an immigration attorney. So let me bring him on the show, and he is joined by his another business entrepreneur, business owner, who also help people to bring businesses to the country and establish them. And we will learn how the immigration process works. So let me bring them on the show first. Help me welcome Brother Adam Malik. Welcome to the show, Brother Adam.
Thank you, Brother Kazi. Thank you for having us here on your show, and we're very happy to be here.
Thank you very much for giving us your time. May I ask you, because I know I have not done justice to your introduction, if I may, please go ahead and introduce yourself, your background, so the people who are watching us here in the United States and around the world, so that they know that who we are talking to.
Well, thank you, Brother Kazi. I'll do my best to pat my own back. My name is Adam Malik. I'm an attorney at law here in Texas. I am licensed to practice in the Texas Supreme Court and the Supreme Court of the United States. I am an attorney, primarily focus my practice within the realms of immigration. And previously, I have worked for the Department of Homeland Security as an adjudications officer with USCIS, which is the benefits arm of the United States Department of Homeland Security, and then with ICE, which is Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which is the enforcement arm of the United States Department of Homeland Security.
Well, thank you very much. And I see you are joined by Brother Hayat Malik, who is a business owner. Malik ji, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam Mujeeb bhai. First of all, congratulations on your show. This is the first time, and thank you for having myself and Adam on the show. We appreciate the opportunity, and you pretty much know about me. I've been in business for almost going on 15 years, and I've spent my life in different walks of life in United States. Right now, our focus is basically we're doing consulting, taxes, and insurance, and in marketing and management consultation. And one of the area that we are focusing on is basically primarily helping people. And I've had several conversations with people. I was in Pakistan recently, here and in Pakistan, about people wanting to immigrate to United States, and they're looking for opportunities. So there are different ways of doing it. One of them is E2, which is the area that I'm focusing on. Basically, I take on, help people how to get settled here and all that. And obviously, with the help of Adam, who takes over the legal side of it. My job is to do the marketing, consulting, helping people find what is suitable for them. And then Adam takes over the legal side of it.
Well, thank you very much for giving us the background. And Brother Adam, I'm going to come back to you and ask you a question, a legal question. People generally make the common sense decisions based on their own perception that I think that's the right thing to do. But oftentimes what happens is legal issues are different than the common sense issues. And, such as the immigration law enforcement, the immigration law and the naturalization law and citizen. So I would ask you if you can briefly give us the rundown how these three different body of law differentiate each other.
So, Brother Kazi, you have to understand that every case is different. Every scenario is different. Every circumstance of a family is different. So obviously, there's no such thing as one size fit all when it comes to the law, because you have to understand everybody's situation is different. Now, having said that, we're primarily talking about E2 visa. In an E2 visa, basically, a person has to have a business and invest in a business where the money has been invested into that business and the country of the United States to a point of no return, which means that your money is now fully at risk of you can basically lose your money. That's the idea. And at that point, you can apply for an E2 visa if all other requirements are fulfilled. And we'll get into those requirements shortly here. And Mr. Hyatt, basically what he does is provide his services in those individuals, helping find various different kinds of businesses. And he's also involved in one of a key franchises where they provide services to the community for tax and insurance services. And you can purchase one of those franchises and set that up, and that business can be qualified for an E2 visa.
So in that case, the first question comes in mind that what is the bare minimum amount of investment is required in order for you to get, or in order for any immigrant to get that E2 visa with the amount of investment that he's required? How much money is required? And then I will ask the subsequent question.
Sure. So that is a very good question. And it is a very confusing one at the same time, because there is no set amount, dollar amount in the law. And I'll explain to you why they've put it that way, because they want the money that you're investing to be the right amount for the kind of business that you're investing in. So for example, if you are looking to buy a franchise of McDonald's, you cannot get a McDonald's franchise, as you and I both know, for, let's say, $50,000 or $60,000. But let's say if you were starting a coffee shop on the corner in a small neighborhood, that maybe can be done with $50,000 or $60,000. So that's why there's no specific amount. It depends on the business. If you're investing the amount that is the fair market value of the kind of business that you're looking to get into, that can qualify you to apply for the E2 visa.
So does that mean the 50,000, if somebody has a 50,000, so he can start a business?
So yes, you can start a business with a minimum amount of 50,000. But what I have seen with my experience, they will be scrutinized. They will be put under a microscope to make sure that every check on the checklist is checked off and everything is good. So the answer to your question is yes, they can. But what I recommend to have some leeway where you can make sure that you will have a good success rate, I recommend people who consult with me to invest anywhere between $80,000 to $100,000 minimum.
So with your permission, I would go ahead and ask Brother Malik a question. That Malikji, is there any business that is available that can be started from 50 to 100,000?
Yeah, there are several opportunities, Mujeeb bhai. As you know, I mean, for example, the one thing, and I'll mention that first, the tax and insurance. This is something that can be started for as low as $50,000 to $75,000. Then there are small franchises that can be done, and we're focusing on small businesses. We don't want you to go for big time, like Burger Kings and the McDonald's of the world. So the answer to your question is yes, there are businesses, and that's where we come in. Basically, we do the analysis. We tell you, hey, what this business is about, how this will work, and obviously we help you. When you come here, we help you set up, we help you train, and we make sure that you are doing your business right. So yes, you can do many small businesses with that amount of money.
So if a client comes to Adam Malik's office and he brings in $50,000 and he asks that, hey, I'm an immigration visa. I landed in this country. I have 6 months of entry, and I want to start my business and convert my current visiting status into E2 status. What would be the procedure, and can he do that?
Yes, so there will be some restrictions, obviously, because first thing that you have to understand that you have to, when you're coming to this country, you have to uphold the laws of this country, the laws of the nation. So when you're coming in as a visitor's visa, on a visitor's visa, you are representing not only to the U.S. Embassy or the consulate who issued the visa, and at the port of entry to the U.S. immigration officer that I am coming here as a tourist. So your intention should be that of a tourist. So now if you come in and the next day you're looking for a business, now your question, the government is going to question your intention because you came in as a tourist. You told yesterday at the airport to the immigration officer, I want to come in as a tourist. I'm only going to stay here for a month or 2 months and I'm going to return. And the next day you're looking for a business. That doesn't go, connect all the dots here. So what the law says, Mr. Kazi, is that if a person comes into the United States after the 90 days, if they change their mind, they are not going to they're not going to have to explain to the government the change of their intention. In other words, the presumption is that after 90 days, you can possibly change your intention, and your intention at the port of entry was correct, and you just simply changed it, which means that you are not committing any kind of fraud, or you're not misrepresenting to the U.S. government. But however, if you do that less than 90 days of your entry, then the burden of proof is on you, the immigrant or the person applying for the visa, and you have to explain to the government how did you come about to change your intention a day or a month after you came in as a tourist.
Make all the sense what you have said. So let's talk about 90 days. 90 days passed by, and he changes his mind. He end up deciding that he would want to start his business in this country. But if you're traveling for 2 weeks and 3 weeks intention, you don't carry around $50,000-$60,000 with you. So at that time, once he comes and talk to Malik and ask him, I need to get a business started and I want to convert my my visiting visa into E2 visa. So how Malik ji would help him out in this situation with basically he doesn't have any money in he does have a money, but he doesn't have it with him.
Correct. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. You probably understood the question. Yeah.
I understand the question, and this happens all the time. And obviously, what we're talking about here is general information. We're talking hypotheticals, and we're talking about how the law works, and we're not necessarily giving legal advice to anybody. So nobody needs to take what we're saying as legal advice. This is just a discussion in a hypotheticals here. So what happens, Mr. Kazi, is when somebody comes here and they do change their mind legally, and they, under the law, they are okay to change their mind after 90 days and they want to apply for a business, they can start the process, and then they can have that money wired from their account to their account here in the United States from overseas. Or if they're borrowing, you can't borrow the money because the money has to be yours, but some family members can gift you the money. So let's say, for example, Mr. Hyatt here in our hypothetical has a brother that's visiting, and he changes his mind and he wants to set up a business here. And Mr. Hyatt had promised him when they were young kids that, hey, whenever you come to the age and you want to start a business, I'm going to give you a gift of $100,000. And now he's going to remind Mr. Hyatt, hey, remember that promise you made? Where's my $100,000? So Mr. Hyatt can give him the gift that he had promised. And with that gift money, he can start the business. So that is one hypothetical. Another hypothetical is that he can reach out to his bank back home in his country, and he can have that money wired to his newly opened bank account in the United States. So there are several different ways how this can be achieved, but obviously it has to be done in the correct way and the right way and the legal way. And one of the key requirements in any investment type visa is the source of funds. So you always have to prove that your source of funds are legal and legitimate, and you have done the transaction correctly and rightfully under the law. And once you've done that, then you can use those funds to apply for the visa that you're looking to apply. In this case, E2.
Mujeeb, let me just ask a question of Adam. So more just to clarify. So Adam, the does the money has to come from abroad, or can it be from here? Say, like you use the example, somebody's giving a gift here.
Yes, so the money can be given to you as a gift in the United States. The requirement is not that the money has to come from overseas, but the money has to be yours, the person who's applying. So in other words, you could not take a loan from a bank here in the United States and say, okay, now I've gotten this loan and I'm investing into a business, because that money is not yours. You're getting a loan. But if a brother gives the money to a brother, or a father gives to a child, or those circumstances, and the money then becomes yours, then you're free to do whatever you want with it.
Thanks.
And how long does a case like this takes? What is the time length of getting that case approved? If the sources are proven that the money that he has was his or gifted to him, hypothetically speaking, I would love to have a friend like that to give me $100,000. I will take it at a heartbeat. But in case the money is there and all the legal requirements are met, now the time frame comes into play. How long would it take for a case?
So there's two ways to do this. One, you can do this overseas. You set up your business, you came on a tourist visa or a student visa or whatever the case may be, and you set up your business and you leave the United States and you're going to apply at the US consulate or embassy overseas. That's a different procedure. Then we're talking about you're going to do it here in the United States as a change of status, we call it. So you're going, let's say hypothetically, from a tourist visa into now an E2 investment visa. So there's two routes that you can take. One is known as the premium processing, and the other one is known as regular processing. Premium processing, you pay an extra fee to the government, and then your case will be decided in 15 business days, 15 working days. However, there's an important caveat to it, that if, let's say, on the 14th day, the government looks at your application and they say, hey, we got everything looks good, or everything doesn't look good and we need these additional things from you, that clock stops on 14th day. And they give you 90 days to produce those things. And when you produce those things, then the clock starts again. And then, by the end of the 15th day, they should make a decision. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, and the next question would be, proceeding question would be two parts. Number one, what would that premium process fee would be? And secondly, what if the entry time have lapsed now? And by the time this guy decided, like 6-month entry, and he was supposed to have been out of the country in, let's say, 5 months. Now he is into this window of 14 days each. Now the time of his entry lapsed. So, but at the same time, he doesn't want to get out of that overstay status. So how would he handle that?
So there's two things. One, you can always apply for an extension of stay, and you can say, hey, I'm in the middle of this, setting up this business, or whatever the case may be. As long as your intention is not changing for the B2 visa, you can apply for an extension. In the alternative, when you have applied for a change of status here with the USCIS, while your case is pending, even if your initial entry expired, you are still under what's called an authorized stay. So even though they don't extend your stay, but you're not illegal either. It is just a legal concept that's known as authorized stay. So you will not be considered illegal while your case is pending with immigration.
So at that time, Malikji, while he has made up his mind, he's bringing the money, he has the money, he changed his mind to stay in this country and start his own business. And he comes and asks you, what are the available businesses for me that I can start and be successful? Because risking 50,000 or 100,000, I'm just using hypothetical number up here, 50,000 or 100,000, maybe 200,000, whatever amount of money it is. So, the chances may be that he may end up having to go back to his country and coming back, or having to leave that, the trip going back to his country, but starting it from here. And the money comes in and goes, and he wants to start his business that he wants to see with his own eyes, making sure that he is successful. So, and then he is asking you, because I'm new in the country, I don't have an expertise that which franchise should I go, what business to start. So at that time, would you have a list of businesses? Okay, these are the businesses that will make you obviously there's no guaranteed success in any business, but what would be your advice at that time? Let me put it this way.
Yeah, thank you very much. So basically, what we will do is, when we meet with the person, we'll sort of do a quick interview, and we're trying to ascertain what his interests are, what his expertise are, and based on his interest and expertise and the areas, we have a basically bunch of listed businesses that we have up our sleeves. We will make a recommendations for those for him, and before we do that, we'll make a sort of a trip. We'll show him what these businesses are. Let's use an example of a coffee shop, say Gloria Jeans, for example. I'm just using a hypothetical example. So we'll tell them these are the pros and cons of this. You have owned a restaurant back in Pakistan or wherever you are coming from, and this is an area that you seem to have some expertise in, and this will be a very suitable business. So now, when we have done the interview with him, then we will shortlist maybe I would say probably 5 to 7 potential businesses. I will go over with the numbers. Now, remember, we're not going to guarantee your success because, if you open up the business and you don't go to the office, it ain't going to be successful. So I'm not going to give you guarantees that your business is going to be successful, but I am going to show you the numbers that your investment makes sense from the business perspective. Remember, my worry is not about your E2. My worry is that your business is successful. That's what I'm focusing on. So we'll have 5 to 7 businesses that we will recommend, and based on his expertise, then we'll start proceeding from there on. And generally, what I would do is I'll probably narrow it down to maybe 2 to 3, because sometimes the circumstances change. For example, we may pick XYZ franchise and they may not be, and he wants to live in, say, for example, Austin, and they may not be giving a franchise in Austin. So I'll give him 2, 3 different options that, hey, you can be in these businesses. So those are the things that, we will do. But again, our area of focus will be setting up a business, making a business, helping the person become a successful in that business. But then again, at the end of the day, it is up to that person to make the business success.
And Mr. Kazi, quickly, I'm going to jump in here just to make a couple things clarified here for the benefit of your listeners. When Mr. Hyatt and I are talking together, when he says we, it doesn't mean him and I together. We're 2 separate businesses. We're 2 separate entities. We have nothing to do with each other. Being a lawyer, I have to clarify that, because as an attorney, I do not help people find businesses. That is not my job. My job is that you bring in your business, your idea, and what you want to do, and I only deal with your case with immigration. So it is very important for our listeners to know that we have no legal connection between Mr. Hyatt and I. It's somebody that we, in the past, we've worked together. We may have mutual clients, but as a lawyer, as an attorney, I do not help you find businesses. I do not do that. That is a job of an intelligent business person like yourself and Mr. Hyatt to do. My job is only when the intelligent people have gotten them a successful business, then I only help them get with the E2 visa process.
There is a reason that I love lawyers, because they come up with the quick disclaimers and get themselves right after the hook. I love it.
And when I was using the V, I mean, because we have just not me, we have like 5 people in our office. So that's the quote unquote V.
Right. And it's, from a lawyer's perspective, you always have to clarify.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Totally understand that. Yeah. So with the E2 visa, our whole conversation actually went into this discussion, but it's a very interesting conversation, because most people have, myself, I was under the impression that you can only get the E2 visa once you invest like $400,000 or $500,000. But now the amount of money that you have described, depending on the business, makes sense. Can you bring your family with also under this visa?
Yes. So, Mr. Kazi, let me tell you, I think the $400,000 or $500,000 number that you have, that's a different kind of visa. It's called EB5. I think there might be some confusion with in a lot of people's minds. EB5 is a different kind of visa than E2. There are certain very staunch differences between the 2 kinds, and we can talk about EB5 another day maybe, but today we're focused on E2. And to answer your question, yes, you are allowed to bring in your spouses and your unmarried children under the age of 21. And your spouses who are not the principal applicant are also given a work authorization card, which means that they can either get a job in any kind of an industry without any restrictions, or they can open their own business separate than what you are getting the E2 through.
That's brilliant. And would they be eligible at some point of time down the road to be able to acquire a green card or citizenship?
Yes, and that's the difference between the EB5 and the E2. E2 never, and I want to make it very clear for the listeners that you can never get a green card through E2. You can continue to run your business and you'll continue to get your visa renewed for many, many years. There's no end to that, but you will not get a green card. To get a green card, you have to go through a different route, and EB5 is a route to get a green card through investment. And for that, you either need a $500,000 or $1 million investment. And we'll talk about that some other time, about the details of that. That is the route through investment to get a green card. E2 does not get you a green card. But Mr. Kazi, just like all the immigrants, our listeners have to understand you cannot become, you cannot get to a master's degree the day you start going to school. There are steps. You graduate to different steps to get to a green card. So everybody I understand who wants to come to the United States wants to get a green card the day they land, but it doesn't work that way. You have to take steps to get to that point.
But at some point of time down the road, if and when it happens, they can convert their E2 into EB5, right?
Absolutely. If they want to, if they qualified, not only can they convert that into EB5, they can, you know, if it's somebody single who ends up getting married to a U.S. citizen, can get through the family. If their siblings have filed for them many years ago and they're waiting for their turn through the visa process, they will get it through that. If their parents have applied for them, they'll get it through that. I mean, there's a number of ways to get the green card, and you can always convert the E2 into that green card at a later date.
Adam, let me ask you a question there. So say there are two spouses, one has a business and the other spouse is working somewhere else, you know, because of his work authorization. If that spouse's employer sponsors that person, can that person then get a green card?
Absolutely. And not only that person can get a green card, the person who's running the E2, they may have a potential employer. They may say, you know, yes, you're running your business right now, but I want you to come and work for me. So I'm going to apply for a green card for you. And in the future, when that time comes, you can still convert your E2 into a green card and continue to run this business, because you don't need any permission from anybody to run this business, because now you're a permanent resident, and you can have a job at that employer's location and get your green card through them.
You have been practicing your law for about 10 years now, if I may.
So I have been in the field of immigration for about 15 years, Mr. Kazi. That includes my experience as an immigration officer at working at immigration jails with ICE, and then private practice, and as a paralegal, and then as an attorney, and then my private practice. So all of that total together, I have about 15 years of experience in different facets within the immigration industry. That's correct.
If you were to give advice to the new clients, what, I mean, you know, this is a business visa, and at the same time, it's an immigration visa, and the people may end up landing at the office of a business attorney. So what components that they need to look for when they were to look for an attorney? And obviously, in your case, you would want him to come to your office, but I'm just giving them, you know, the general, you know, broad information that what is it that they need to look for.
Sure. I understand. And, you know, just because we're doing this show, I don't want them to only come to me. They should always get second opinions and talk to other people, because, you know, for various reasons, working with an attorney is like a marriage. It doesn't work for everybody. So you may end up finding somebody else that works better for you. So I'm completely okay with that. You're looking for E2 is a non-immigrant visa. So E2, investor non-immigrant visa. Basically, if you do a Google search for E2 attorneys, you will find a bunch of attorneys who practice E2. But again, like I said, immigration lawyer is kind of like getting married to this person. That relationship is a marriage. So you better find somebody that you will be able to work with.
That brings us to the end of our show, and thank you very much. Actually, we do need to have another session with you, because this is very prudent information, and people do want to hear from you guys, because you are out in the field and a lot of knowledge, and we want to make sure that the people get benefit out of it. I want to thank you both for taking the time out and being on the show. Malik Hayat, thank you so much for your time. Malik Adam, thank you so much for your time. And do you want to add any conclusive remarks?
No, just thank you for having us, and we're always here whenever you need us. I mean, you can Google our names and you will find us, and if you ever need any advice, we're happy to help. And I think Mr. Hyatt has something to say that he
Yeah, I was
wants.
just going to say, just like he did the disclosure on the attorney part, I also want to say that the Malik part would not relate it either. It just so happened that both of us happen to be Malik. So just so that you know.
Yeah, no family relations whatsoever.
It's just two different businesses, but thank you being on the show.
you.
Do you want to share your number where people can reach you?
Yeah, so in my case, they can reach me at 214-881-2100. Once again, 214-881-2100. And my website is malik.law, which is spelled MALIK.LAW. It does not have the .com extension. It's .law.
So in my case, the web page is Regal, REGALTI.com. Again, that's regalti.com. And the phone number is 469-505-0829. Again, that's 469-505-0829. And we look forward to helping people as much as we can. Thanks for thanks for taking us.
Thank you so much. And I would request you to send me the link, so I will post it on our TV channel so people can get benefit of it. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. And I would leave it right there. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.